The second pillar of a sustainable culture are cymatic fabrics and sigils. All right, and we're going to get a little bit deeper here. Cymatic fabrics and sigils are essential to any culture that you have. As I said, we've all been in a war. You just don't know we've been in one. This is critical for your health. You're buying your outfits from Shein instead of wearing your traditional garb. And remember I said, if you want to break the culture, you have to break what? The tradition. Inside of an intact, functioning culture, everything means something. The colors of your garments, the patterns, and the way they are cut. These sigils on your garments and architecture prevent outside forces from corrupting your cultures and your cultural practices. It protects the DNA. Right? Are you with me? It protects the DNA. All right? Let's dive deeper into this. Sustainable culture, right? One of the most important things that people tend to overlook is understanding how garments are used to protect against spiritual warfare. Okay? And so Ephesians 6:9-12 says, put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. The devil is scheming against you. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers in the dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly realms. Okay, you're in a war right now. And if you're not wearing the armor of God, whether it's the scripture or the word, or whether it's your garments, then you are open and susceptible to the attacks of the enemy. Okay? Really important you understand that. All right? Now, what are cymatics? Because I mentioned that at the beginning, right? Cymatics and sigils. All right? When you look at the garments, your garments that you're probably wearing right now from Shein, from Gucci, all these different clothing brands. You go to Macy's, you buy this stuff. Most of those garments have sigils on them. You just haven't been paying attention to what they're saying, right? So a sigil is a type of symbol used in magic. The term usually is referred to a pictorial signature of a deity or spirit. Okay, we're going to get deeper in this in level 3. Okay, a deity or spirit. All right. Did you know that the White House is a geographic sigil? It sits on a geographic sigil. Yeah, let me show you. You see that right there? That's the overlay of the White House. Right? Now you can see where Scott Circle is at the White House. You'll notice there's a pentagram. Okay, and we'll get into the pentagram and Orion and all of that good stuff a little later. But you can see there's a pentagram there on the grounds. And then when you look at the left-hand side, you can see that this whole thing makes a very interesting pictorial. Let me zoom in closer for you so you can see what it looks like. Okay, there you go right there. There's an owl on the entire campus of the White House. It's in the shape of an owl. Now, if you look at the Masonics who constructed the White House and the grounds there, you'll find lots of interesting things that deal with numbers, numerology, that deal with the Masonic oaths and the cult of the Freemason Society. All right, you'll see all that. But I just wanted to show you these sigils are either blessed or cursed depending on who's the one that's originating it. And it can be in specific geographical locations. You wonder why in some areas in your city, everybody gets killed over there. There's a whole bunch of crime, whole bunch of poverty. That's because the area may be under a demonic sigil. And those sigils reign a principality over that specific region. All right? So that's sigils. We're going to get into cymatic fabrics. So to shield and protect the DNA from spiritual, demonic, or psychological attack, we have to wear the sacred fabrics. Now, you've been buying Gucci, Balenciaga, and all this stuff, right? You don't know that these fabrics are woven just like spells are woven. Spells are woven and your clothes are woven. So you're thinking, hey, you're just putting on something that you saw on Amazon or Shein, or you're going to, Macy's to pick up a garment. You're wearing the Gucci. You don't know that these fabrics are cursed. And when you put them on, they exert curses into your life. Mm-hmm. See? And you see the advertisement for Gucci, you see she has a reptilian hand. She's got the mirror, which is the reflection, right? Which deals with the duality. But there are really three people there. There are two twins, and then there's one in the mirror. There's one picture of her head in the front of the camera, one facing you, and then one head in the mirror. But we'll get into the metaphysics on the pictures later. Okay? What I want to deal with mainly here, and the whole point of me showing you this, is that you understand that what you wear has a direct result on how you feel, what you think, what you perceive in the world. Psychology of clothes. What you wear changes the way you think. And the designers and the companies that produce these clothes for you, they know that. The way they cut the fabric, the way that they pattern the fabric, the way that they curse the fabric before it goes out on the assembly line affects your energy, affects your being, affects your mood. Very important. Dress for success. How clothes influence our performance. What you wear can influence your thinking and negotiating skills, and even your what? Hormone levels. Hormone levels. Okay? So stop saying that this is science fiction when all of the top manufacturing clothing mongols in the world, the top tier clothing manufacturers in the world, already know how to influence your behavior and your mood by the clothes that they put out for you. You're not picking your own clothes, ladies. Someone else is dressing you, ladies. And it's time that you realize that. So if you want, you want to have more success at work, then it's probably better that you dress up. Dressing up, and if you look at your ancestors who dressed up, they took a lot of time and effort to make sure when they walked out in public, they were dressed appropriately. They were dressed suited and booted. This paper that came out in August 2015 in the social, psychological, and personality science asked subjects to change into formal clothing, right? They asked them to change into formal clothing or casual clothing before a cognitive test. What you wear affects how your brain functions. Wearing formal business attire increased abstract thinking, which is an important aspect of creativity, along with strategizing. All right? The experiment suggested that the effect is related to feelings that they got from those particular clothes they were wearing. No, it's the frequency. The frequency that's exerted by the clothes that you're wearing that are dressed up have a higher frequency. That's why the fabrics cost more money. When you're buying a lot of nylon, I should say, a lot of nylon and the stretch material, it's a lower frequency fabric. All right, so the higher frequency fabrics you wear, the more cognitive effect in a positive direction you're going to exert. You need to know that, ladies. All right. Okay. Kind of consequences of formal clothing. This is the actual extract that they took this from, drawing from the literature. So again, they looked at this, and this is real. Okay. Putting on formal clothing influenced greater category of inclusiveness. It enhanced a global processing advantage. Now, this is important because when you look back at your ancestors, your mothers, your grandmothers, your grandfathers, they were wearing suits. They were dressed up. Yeah, man, I don't want my people wearing no European suits or whatever. Okay, that's fine. But they weren't dressing bummy like we see people dressing today, right? People today are far more relaxed in how they dress, and their performance has down spiraled as a result. When you look at kids that go to private schools where they have to wear uniforms, they outperform the kids that wear whatever they want to wear to school. Facts. Facts. right? Sartorial symbols of social class elicit a class consistent behavioral and psychological responses. This whole movement away from dressing up, this whole movement away from, keeping your body pristine, wearing clean clothes, brushing your hair, not going outside wearing all kind of bags over your head, and dressing down, pajamas at public stores and venues. This whole movement is being pushed and shaped for an agenda. But the science says opposite. The science says if you dress up, if you take more time and specialize in the clothing that you wear, overall you get better responses from the people that encounter you, and you have a better psychological response internally, which means you feel better. And you wonder why people are depressed right now. You wonder why people don't feel themselves, because we're not in a society that promotes psychologically high functioning individuals anymore. We're in a shit show. That's where we're at right now. All right. So let's get to the fabrics. So as I say here, you see on the right hand side, this is a woman dressed in her traditional garb. You can see that garb, the quality of the garb. Now you see the girl in the middle with the white on. Look what she's wearing. She's got the Gucci Baphomet with the 5-pointed star on her clothing. Okay? This type of fabric will not promote your energy. It will downgrade your energy. You have to understand that. These are the clothing designers. They know what they're doing when they push this stuff out to y'all. Be careful about what you're wearing. Spells are woven, and so are your clothes. Okay? Now, the use of fabrics, clothing, and sigils to shield and protect the DNA from spiritual, demonic, or psychological attack. The patterns and the designs of your fabrics mean something. I've been saying this, right? Look at these fabrics. It means something. This African pattern here is very powerful. When you're wearing your traditional African garb, it protects your culture. It protects your DNA. The Bible says in Leviticus 19:19, don't wear clothing of mixed cotton and wool. Okay, even in the scriptures, it says, hey, you don't want to wear these down frequency clothes. All right, you want to wear higher end clothes. Higher end clothes will produce higher results. This is how your ancestors protected themselves from negative frequencies and projected their culture through their daily lives and their daily wear. The type of clothes you put on are essential to propel your culture and protect your DNA. High frequency clothing items are often handmade, and use natural materials such as silk, linen, right, that are known to have a higher frequency. Hand-milled silk kimono dress, which is not only beautiful to wear that, but it's also very, very important in terms of boosting your daily energy. Back in the day, hospitals used to use linen sheets. They don't use them anymore because that linen could actually help you to heal. Now, here's a pictorial of coarse wool on the far left, fine wool, alpaca, right? Cashmere, silk, linen, cotton, and polyester. Which one has the highest frequency? Well, linen so far has a very high frequency, linen and silk. But cotton also has a high frequency. Now, the reason that silk and cotton have a high frequency, if you notice, they're spiraled. Anytime you take a wire or a conductor and you twist it, you increase the resonance of it. All right? The type of clothes you wear matter, ladies. Pay attention. What does this have to do with, sex education and reproduction? Everything, because the way that you meet a man and how he meets you says everything about you. If your frequency isn't the right resonance, when you meet this man or you meet this woman, guys, every little bit helps. We need to protect ourselves because we're being bombarded with negative frequencies from the music, negative frequencies from the TV shows, negative frequencies from the 5G towers, and we are not in our natural state, and we're trying to, put a whole gallon of lemonade together, and we ain't got no damn lemons. All the lemons is duds. So we got to get back on our frequency. That's really important for us to move forward. Now, look at the queens here. Look at these queens here, right? Now look at them. Look at their attire. Look at what they're wearing. Look at the outfits they have on. Now you see a lot of women talking about they queens today, but they don't look like these women. These women actually look like queens for real. They dress like queens. Their hair is done. Their garments are beautiful. Okay, this is a standard that you should be aspiring to reach. This is a standard. These are your ancestors. Look at this. Pay attention to the details. Pay attention to the headdress in the far left. You talk about aliens and people looking for aliens. Well, look at these women and what they have on, and look at their energy. You can tell they have a high resonance. They weren't overly smiling back then. Women were preserved their energy because she's the vessel to produce new life. Look at the sister over to the right. Look at her garment. Look how tasteful it is. Look how quality it is. Look at that. Now contrast that to what you have here. Just roll with me for a minute. We're going to spend a little time on this. Sister got a nice body. She banging. I give her that. But she's not protected. She's not protecting her uterus. She's not protecting her breast. She's exposed to the frequencies. And you wonder why y'all can't have healthy relationships. Look at this. Brother and the sister to the left. Right? High quality clothing. She has an amulet on her neck. And you contrast that to what women are wearing now. Ripped holes in the clothes. The clothing designers are actually mocking y'all. You just don't know that they're mocking you because you don't have spiritual eyes. You can't see what they're doing. They ripped your knees off of the jeans. So in other words, you're on your knees, because if you were classy, you wouldn't have holes in your clothes. You need to understand the optics of what they're doing and how they are controlling the narrative for our women today. Okay, your knees is open, which means you actually down on your knees in a slave position. So they'll mock you in your ignorance as long as you allow them. Look at these one. Look at the quality. Look at the black dress here. Look at the quality of that dress. These were your ancestors. I know it's a different time. I know things change. But the more people think things change, the more they stay the same. It just is what it is. Who looks like a queen? Right? Who looks more like a queen? Beautiful garments. Embroidered. The uterus is always protected. You'll see the V come over where the uterus is, which protects the uterus. You don't understand the weaponry of fabrics. We'll do an entire other lecture on the weaponry of fabrics, but I wanted to spend some time here so you can see why the women of that era, even though they may not have had a lot of the liberties that women have today, what they did have was the incredible ability to keep their families intact. And they were women. All right. Now, sister here, again, stomach and uterus exposed, high frequency, susceptible, breasts out, shoulders are not covered, body not covered, head not covered, no amulet. Right. We'll get into the accessories later. All right. This is sister right here sitting in this chair. She like she could have been on Games of Thrones. She like she was a queen. I hear all these women talking about they queens, but they don't look like these women here. These are queens. Look at the chair she's sitting in, man. Wow. And then now this is what the ladies are wearing today. Pajamas. Outside. Okay, what has happened? What has shifted? What has happened to our women? Women wearing pajamas now at the store. They're not doing their hair. Okay. Indigenous women especially melanated indigenous women, always knew they were queens. This queen hairstyle tells you all you need to know. Okay, she's got the crown on her head right there. And now we got bonnets at every Walmart and Target at an area near you. And I'm not being overly critical to a lot of the ladies that wear these bonnets, but I'm trying to get you to see the contrast. Your queenship has been taken from you. Your queenship has been ripped from you. Okay. Look at the sister in Dakar. See? She got her amulets on. She got her headdress protected. And today we got Shin or Amazon silk bonnets on our head in public. It's a problem. Look at this woman here. Like Princess Leia, for real. And then we got the sister in the gym with the purple bonnet on. Okay, ladies, you have to stop wearing these bonnets over your head. You're cutting your energy, number one, and your chakra energy and the frequency that you have to resonate from the follicle can't connect when you're putting this nylon bonnet over your head like that. You have to stop doing that, sis. Okay, you have a beautiful crown, and you've been propagandized to cover your head because you don't want to deal with your hair. But your hair should be your first priority. When you get up in the morning, your hair need to be first priority before you even work out. Your hair need to be tight. Hair need to be done. And it's going to take you more time because remember, the hair is an extension of your sixth sense. You have 5 carnal senses, but you have a sixth sense, and your hair is connected to that sixth sense, which bridges out of the crown chakra. Okay, and so sis, you gotta start spending a lot more time on your hair. Spend less time watching Netflix and fucking off and getting high, and spend more time doing your hair and making sure your crown is right. Because you have the crown, but you're not using it. You're not using it, sis. And I know you had a potential, to be the full blown, representation you're supposed to be. But this ain't gonna cut it. We can't be wearing these synthetic fabrics over your crown, cutting your energy like that. We can't do it because with that over your head, you're not going to be thinking correctly, and you're not going to be agreeable to be with in a relationship. Right? You don't want to wear shoes no more. I see y'all at the store wearing, flip flops and pajama shoes. You have to get away from that. You have to get back to your essence. You are the queen. You are one of the first creations. You are one of the first creations, and you have to represent accordingly. If you're the first at it, you got to represent accordingly. You can't go out like this. You always had your crown and knew what your crown was. Don't let the propaganda and the bullshit get you off of your crown. This is your crown. Your hair is your crown. It's unlike anybody else's hair because everybody else's hair is different. Your hair is a crown. Okay, we'll get into the races later. We'll get into the different races and the delineations of who is who later. But your crown is an extension of your sixth sense, which is your crown chakra. All right, remember, we have different races have different chakras. Some have 9 chakras, some have 8. Okay, queen, you better embrace your 9 chakras and quit playing games. All right, so this sustainability of a culture we kind of gone through. Spend a little time on this, but I want to add in one more thing. When we look at the garments, right? Look at the Muslims, look at the Hindus, Dravidians. Look at their garments. Very, very high end, very high culture, very high class, very protective against the elements of the frequencies that preserve. Those garments preserve the DNA. You see a woman that is oppressed because she's got a burqa on, you do not understand the science and the war that we are in. You want to pick on Muslims and you want to say Muslims are lost and they're this and they're that. Muslims understand very clearly that they are in a war. We are in a war. And the women need to be protected and covered to preserve the DNA. y'all looking at this shit the wrong way. They are protecting their women. Okay, you men in America, you African Americans are not protecting your women. Your women get to roam around, and you white men get to roam your women around butt naked with their asses out and wonder why your entire society is flipped upside down. And when you look at Arab countries that have maintained the integrity of the Quran, which comes from the Bible, you're wondering why they're passing you up right now. They got more money than you. They got better society than you. You can go to Dubai right now and leave your wallet outside on the ground. I've actually tried this. And ain't nobody going to steal it because they live in a high culture. Now, they got their problems like everybody, but they're not as bad as the United States because they protect their women. But you think protection of women is oppression of women. And that's how you know you come out of the host body system. And we'll get into the host body system in a little bit.